A couple of weeks ago was Black Friday, so my dad and I went out to Best Buy to see what kind of deals they'd have. We live in a rural area, so, not many people go to Black Friday here, so it's not very crowded or anything. We did happen to find a deal for the PS3, which was $199 that came with The Last of Us, as well as a Batman Arkham Origins, I think, but I have both Batman games on PC, so I might as well get it for that too. But anyway, this was the game that I was interested in playing. I hate that they come in little cardboard in bundles. Like, they're not a box like these. These are also other games that I got. The Journey Collection, Eco and Shadow Colossus, and Sly Cooper. I've been wanting a PS3 for a long time because I've been wanting to play exclusives like this. I have an Xbox 360, but I mainly got that for Rock Band way back in 2007. And now that I have a decently powered PC, I play all of my multiplats on that now. But going back to exclusives, The Last of Us is sort of the swan song for the PS3, being that it's one of the last exclusives on the console before the next generation is here already, pretty much. Unless you count Beyond Good and Evil, Beyond Two Souls. Unless you count Beyond Two Souls, which has been getting mixed reviews, The Last of Us is pretty much the game that people have wanted to be, the last game for the PS3 as far as exclusives go. Since it got really high praise when it came out, and it even says on the box, it says, one of the highest rated PS3 games with 42 perfect scores. So does it deserve that massive praise? Well, yes and no. And I'm going to tell you why for each of those. First of all, the story, which a lot of people cite as why it's such a good game. Now, I'm one of those people who puts gameplay over everything else. But if it has a good story or amazing graphics, that just adds to the experience. And while The Last of Us story is very good, it does have some cliches that I wish they would have avoided. I won't give away what those cliches are, but it's cliches that happen pretty late in the game. For those of you who don't know what The Last of Us is about, it's about the zombie apocalypse, but it takes place 20 years after it happens. So you have these characters that are used to it and people who have even grown up in it, like Ellie, your partner throughout the most of the game. There are a lot of things that I really like about the story, especially the character dialogue during just moments when you're just walking to the next area. Some of my favorite moments in the game are when Ellie talks to Joel about something she might see. That dialogue is some of the best I've heard in a game. Also relating to the story, there seems to be a bit of disconnect between the player and the character. After I beat the game, I watched a couple of videos discussing the ending as well as, everything about the game, and I'm not sure if I really like the ending that much. I understand why they went in that direction, because all of this time we've been seeing how Joel feels about the whole situation. But I'm not sure if I was too invested in that. It might be just because I was playing it with my dad watching, and usually when I play a game with someone watching, I'm not quite as invested as I would be alone in a room, in a dark room, just playing a single player game. It's just that the ending afterwards, I felt, is that it? I actually went online to see if there was an alternate ending, and there was actually a pretty funny thing that they filmed that was an alternate ending, but it wasn't serious. I'm not saying the story is bad. The story is actually really well written. I just feel like there should have been a bit more. I didn't really feel satisfied when I completed the game. Maybe it would have been different if I was playing it alone with no one watching, but like I said, I just didn't feel too satisfied. Now, other than the story, there's also the gameplay, because mainly people cite the story when they talk about, how good this game is. Well, how good is the gameplay? That's what I'm all about. First of all, this is a survival horror, so you're going to have limited ammo and limited supplies, and that does give you a great sense of feeling anxious with every encounter, where you might be dreading it, which some people would say that's a bad thing, but actually I think it adds to the tension of the story. I think the only time where I didn't enjoy the tension was in the very beginning of the game. There is a part where you have to run from humans, and it's kind of frustrating because you don't really have that many weapons yet. So you have to hide, and either hide or run. That's pretty much the two options you have. One disappointing thing is that there's not very many enemy types. There's only 3 types of infected, and then there's humans. That's not a whole lot of variety. Though I understand with the type of world they're trying to build, and it's focusing more on the story where it's a bit more believable. You're not going to have that many types of infected, like in Resident Evil or something like that. Which, if it was like that, it would be ridiculous. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that it's mainly a stealth game, but actually, there are many ways you can defeat enemies. Yes, you can do it the stealthy way, but you can also do it a sort of a smart way, where you're laying out traps or you're laying out a smoke bomb, and then you just run up and like shoot everyone. And I do like the fact that there's limited ammo because that makes you use weapons that you might not normally use if you only have ammo for that weapon. So you get to, use these weapons a lot. I think the only weapon I didn't use a whole lot was the pistol, which is the first weapon you get. All of the other weapons I use, which I rarely say that about a game. The pacing of the gameplay can feel a bit repetitive, because there will be a human encounter, then an infected encounter, then a human encounter again, rinse and repeat. But they do give you enough time to rest in between. The only disappointing thing about the encounters is that you never saw them mixed together, which I feel like would make for some more interesting and dynamic combat. But for what the combat was, I still enjoyed it. And overall, I did enjoy the game. And I do understand why it gets the praise it does. It's just not going to get that type of praise from me. For me, it's not really Game of the Year. For that, tune into the next vlog, because I'll be talking about my Game of the Year. See you next time!